to men in agriculture ever since farming began. And I think the efforts we want to encourage through the Minnesota Department of Agriculture, through the young farmer programs, is to encourage more women, more men. I commend Speaker Kelleher for her getting started in the youth programs. As I've seen youth all over this state involved, the county fairs and state fairs. We want to be encouraging that because women should be as successful in agriculture as men. And of course, young women and girls who aspire to agriculture should see that as having a future, having an opportunity to, as I said earlier, make a good profit, have a good living, live where they choose, do what they love to do, raise a family, keep their children on the land, and grow old with their farms over the next century. That's been the spirit of Minnesota. It's been the greatness of Minnesota, and that's what we want to ensure for the future.
Margaret Anderson Kelleher.
Well, Sarah, I think the future is bright for women in agriculture because agriculture is 20% of our state economy, and there are so many ways to be involved. I'm proud that my mom and dad gave me the best example possible. They were equal partners in that farm. Carl and Elaine were equal partners every single day. And I have to tell you that a couple of months ago, my brothers are out in the audience today. Craig and Ken, Bruce, will you wave? They farm the family farm. And a couple of months ago, my daughter Franny, who's 13 years old, said, "Mom, what happens to the farm when they don't want to farm anymore?" Because they're a little bit older than I am, and she is. And I said, "Well, I don't know. You might have to ask them what's going to happen to the family farm when they're done farming." And she said to me, "Maybe I want to farm the family farm." And I thought, you go for it, girl. You know that? That's what we need to be encouraging. And we need leadership opportunities for young women in rural areas like 4-H, like FFA, so they get the experience of becoming leaders.
Tom Horner.
Sarah, I think the opportunity for women in agriculture ought to be exactly the same for women in every other profession. I mean, we need to create a state in which everybody is judged on their talent, everybody is judged on their skill, everybody is judged on their commitment to building a better state, creating better families, to building a better community. That ought to be the basis for Minnesota and how we evaluate people. And to get there, we need a smaller, smarter, more efficient government, absolutely. But we also need a government that is willing to invest in good education, to make sure that every child has the opportunity to go into school prepared to learn, that every person has the opportunity for lifelong learning, that we have strong two-year schools around the state. I mean, look how important our two-year schools are to communities throughout the state, to agriculture, and yet look how we're allowing them to have some mission creep. That's what leadership is to stand up to say, it's not just about what happens on the land, it's about the infrastructure, it's about education, it's about research, it's about becoming a knowledge state, not just for women, but for all Minnesotans.
Tom Emmer.
Thank you for the question, Sarah. As a father, husband and a father of 6 boys and 1 daughter, this becomes very focused in our house. And I will tell you that it really is, as I was growing up, I had one sister, and it was different. There were different opportunities. That's changed, I believe, although at times you wonder. There are certain avenues where women, I think, get treated differently. We've got to keep working towards equalizing that, but at the end of the day, it's about all being Minnesotans and having the same opportunity to succeed. Whether it's on the farm or in a food-related or agricultural-related business. 1 out of 5 jobs in this state is related to agriculture in one way or another. It's about lowering taxes, reducing regulation, giving people the opportunity to keep more of their money and create more of their opportunities. That's how you will have both women and men succeeding in the state of Minnesota and hopefully carrying on the family tradition, the farming tradition that is Minnesota.
Matt Enzenza.
Well, I was raised in town in Worthington, and when I was 15, I lost my dad. My dad very sadly had the disease of alcoholism, got himself in terrible business trouble, and literally walked out the door, and we never saw him again. And my grandmother took us into her little 2-bedroom house in Worthington, and bless her soul, I thought she was so lucky to have 3 teenagers move in with her. I look back at that now and think at 68 she might have thought she was so lucky, but she did. So it was my grandmother and my mom that raised me. And so I grew up around strong women. And when we hit a bump in the road, they're the ones who had to pick up the slack and make things work. Now, when I was in high school, you only saw boys in FFA. You didn't see a lot of girls there. And the times have changed, and they need to continue to change. And as someone who's got family in farming, and my cousin, it's not just the guy that's farming, they're a couple, and they do it together. And we need to make sure they're working with Extension, working with all of our high school programs, the 4-H and FFA and others, that we have those strong models so that all of our young women know that they've got a great future in agriculture.
Rob Hahn.